Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Haunting Hour. We go live usually every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. For those of you who have been regulars to these streams, um, or whether it's been live or watching the recap, you know that I say that all the time. Every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Last week, obviously, we did no streams, which was crazy. Honestly, I feel like it's been way too long without a stream. Though I did mention in my community tab that some unexpected traveling came up very last minute. So I was not going to be able to go live. Specifically on the Thursday, I was traveling from Tuesday to Friday. The Monday, however, I was invited to a Toronto premiere of the new Undertone movie, which is a fantastic movie, mind you. So if you guys like paranormal movies, paranormal activity type movies, Undertone is a very cool one because it's based off of a paranormal or horror podcast. Um, and the elements of the paranormal that they bring into the film, very well done. It's very well done. So I would recommend. But I was seeing the premiere in Toronto that night. So hence the stream did not occur last Monday. For future reference, for anyone who might have missed the announcement, I had a few people message me when I was not active here last week and asking where the streams were or if everything was okay. Thank you for checking in, first of all, for those of you who did. But yes, every time that I either have to reschedule or cancel or postpone a stream, I will announce it in the community tab on my channel. So if you go to my homepage, there's like the homepage, the videos, the shorts, the live tab, which if you miss a live stream, you can always go there and catch up on all the streams. So every single stream I've ever done is there. So under that live tab. And then beside that is I think it's a playlist tab. And then there's a post tab. If you click on the post tab, all of my communications with you guys about any changes or updates or anything like that will be posted there. And yes, so if you don't see it in your on your homepage for whatever reason, then you can always check there. If I'm missing for some reason, you're like, where is she? I will have let you guys know there. But with that all being said, hello, hi Jennifer. Hi, Mary. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for being here. It feels good to be back. It was definitely because well, I mean, I guess technically I missed that one stream a few weeks ago on the Thursday because I wasn't feeling well. But other than that, we've been consistently streaming. We've done at least one live stream a week for this whole year so far. So being away from the streams have been uh, it's been it has what's the word? Taken me off my rocker. I think. And that might not be the correct term. It threw off my whole schedule, but it's good to be back streaming and talking to you guys every single week about spooky things. So as of right now, there are no travel plans that will affect the week. So Mondays and Thursdays should go back to normal again at 7 p.m. Eastern. And also, the podcast will finally be uploaded this week. It was supposed to be uploaded, it was supposed to be uploaded a couple weeks ago. I was sick, and then it was going to be uploaded last week, but traveling. So things are back to usual scheduled programming. So podcast will be out this week on my YouTube channel, and some paranormal investigations coming, multiple. The Milton Town Hall is coming. I'm working on that with Erica. She is my collab for that investigation. So we're just kind of getting on the same page with that before we both post onto our channels. But there are other paranormal investigations coming to my channel, so stay tuned for that. Hello, Mike. Welcome in. And yeah, I think that's all my housekeeping. But yes, I was missing in action last week, which brings us to what our theme of the episode, this stream is, which is the ghosts of New York City, because I was traveling to New York last week and I checked out a bunch of haunted places in New York. So I figured I would share some haunted places in New York. Some of these places I did check out, some of them I have not. But that's the theme for this week because I'm on the New York mindset right now. Yeah, so I traveled to New York very, very last minute from, again, Tuesday morning, and I came back really late on Friday, and then it was my birthday on Saturday, and, the New York trip was kind of was a birthday gift from my mom, so I traveled with my mom to there, and we saw some Broadway shows, in some haunted theaters, and they were really, really great. We saw Death Becomes Her, fantastic film, fantastic play, and, we saw Moulin Rouge, and we saw Wicked. So good. It was a great, great trip, but a very busy trip, but very good to be back. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm the big 3-1 now, and you know what? I keep when I turned 30, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm 30." It's like a whole new decade. What is this? And then this year, I'm just like, 31 is 30 fun. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, and I was doing this before. One of my birthday gifts from my husband, I asked for like a bunch of markers and a little coloring book, and they're like little ghosties and like spooky things because I randomly got into coloring. And so I'm just coloring away. But yeah. um, what was I saying? Thank you, Mary. um, yeah, now I think that's all the housekeeping and all my ramblingness. We will get into the ghost stories. I know, isn't it so cute? It's these Coco Wyo books, and I've seen a few people on here I am rambling again, but I love it. I'm glad you love it too. Um, I've seen a lot of people on TikTok using these brand of books, and there's like Facebook groups and things like that for specifically this brand of coloring book, and people giving like coloring tips and stuff. Because some people are like so into coloring and they're shading and everything. Like my brain can't process it yet. I've so far just done some testing, some testing coloring. But it's nothing super crazy yet. But like people do like different textures, like glitter textures, and I don't even understand it. But anyways, that's my little coloring venture that I've recently gotten into. um, and where was I going with this? Speaking of Facebook pages, I recently, um, as in yesterday, I posted one of my haunted location videos that I got when I was in New York. And randomly, Facebook, because I usually post or I cross post between Facebook and Instagram, not always, but sometimes. And I cross post the Instagram reel I posted onto Facebook as well. And it's like, I don't, I feel like I need to have a Facebook because I do all this other social media stuff. So that's why I try to cross promote when I remember to. And randomly, the reel I posted yesterday started to take off, and then I think it's at over 100,000 views right now on Facebook, which is the most I've ever been viewed on Facebook in particular. So I've been gaining some followers over on the Facebook page. So I'm getting more active on Facebook too. So if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, it's at Hauntingly Krista, as always. So yeah, Facebook. You can catch me on all the socials. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at Hauntingly Krista, obviously here, Hauntingly Krista. The podcast is starting this week, The Hauntingly Krista Show. You can catch it here. You can also catch it on Spotify as well. And our twice weekly live streams every Monday and Thursday. Okay, that is my rambling done for right now. I know, right, Mary? I was shocked. I was like, "Hello, Facebook." Didn't realize that was gonna do that, but people have been liking it over there, more than Instagram. I think it's actually, it might not be more views than Instagram right now, but it's up there. Like, I'm used to maybe, like, 1,000 views at most on Facebook, but typically around a couple hundred just because it's my least used platform, but not anymore. People love the ghosts over on Facebook. I gotta give the people what they want. Anyways, so let's get into today's topic for real this time, which is let's talk about the ghosts of New York City. So we will start off. We have 20 locations to touch on, most of which, pretty much all are within Manhattan itself. And then there's a bonus location that's in New York State. But here we go. So the first location we'll talk about today is the Morris Jumel Mansion. It was built in 1765, also called Mount Morris, and it is the oldest house in Manhattan and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It originally served as the summer home of Colonel Roger Morris, a decorated British Army officer, and during the fall of 1776, the mansion briefly became General George Washington's headquarters during the Revolutionary War. In 1810, Stephen and Eliza Jumel purchased the Georgian-style home. I also should preface this, I'm not sure if it's Jumel, Jumel. It's Jumel. I do apologize for mispronunciation. I'm just gonna roll with what I think it is. So, Eliza later had an alleged affair with Aaron Burr, the former U.S. vice president who famously killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel. Shortly afterward, Stephen Jumel died in what was officially called a pitchfork accident, though rumors at the time claimed Eliza may have buried him alive. Eliza and Burr divorced 3 years later, and then Burr soon died, and Eliza eventually suffered a mental breakdown after passing away in 1865 at age of 90. Today, the mansion is said to be haunted by at least 5 spirits, including Eliza Jumel, who allegedly shushed a group of loud school children during a tour in 1965. Other reported spirits include Stephen Jumel, Aaron Burr, a servant girl who supposedly jumped from a window, and even a portrait of a Revolutionary War soldier that occasionally appears to come to life. So the mansion is open for self-guided tours every day except Mondays. And this is a location that I actually didn't check out when I was in Manhattan because it's a bit more north. I mainly stayed around the mid to south area of Manhattan, but definitely worth a check out if you are in the area. The second location that we're talking about is called the Dakota. So this is a Gothic style apartment building that opened in 1884. It is known as one of the most exclusive residences in Manhattan and also one of the city's most haunted. Dun dun dun. The building is tragically tied to the death of John Lennon, who was murdered outside the Dakota on December 8th, 1980. His widow, Yoko Ono, still lives there and has said, at least when this article was posted, I'm not sure if that's still accurate, but as of when this article was created, she still lived there, and has said she at once saw Lennon's ghost sitting at his famous white piano. While he was alive, Lennon also reportedly told Ono he had seen a crying lady ghost inside the building. Other residents have claimed to see spirits, including a young girl in a yellow dress and a short man wearing a strange wig. Sorry. This might be a very niche reference, but that specific sentence, the strange wig, made me think of that one meme where oh god, I've never watched The Lord of the Rings. I'm pretty sure it's one of the characters in Lord of the Rings. He's being interviewed by someone and he's like, "Do you wear wigs? When will you wear wigs?" Anyways, I'm gonna stop. That's probably a very niche reference. If you guys get that, like this video. Paranormal reports from the Dakota also include phantom footsteps, unexplained noises, and objects moving on their own. The building also appeared in the 1968 horror film Rosemary's Baby, directed by Roman Polanski, if anybody is familiar with that one. Now, let's talk about the third location, the House of Death. Now, just to take a quick little pause right now, I did just post right before I started this live stream my TikTok video on the House of Death because I did walk by it. I did not go inside, but I did walk by it and I filmed some outside shots and I made my little TikTok, Instagram videos. So those are on my social medias now. I also did upload it as a YouTube short too. So you guys can check that out after the stream as well. But this is a brownstone townhouse that is near Washington Square Park in Greenwich Village, which is widely known as the House of Death. And many consider it one of the most haunted buildings in New York City as well. So the name comes from the number of mysterious and violent deaths that have reportedly happened here over the years, along with countless paranormal claims as well. Now, the author Mark Twain lived in this house from 1900 to 1901, and his ghost, often described wearing his signature white suit and smoking a cigar, has allegedly been seen there as well. A plaque outside the building even marks his residence, which I did not see, oddly enough, but it is supposedly there. The house also became the site of tragedy in 1987 when 6-year-old Lisa Steinberg was murdered there by her father, Joel Steinberg. One longtime resident, actress and poet Jan Bryant Bartell, wrote a 1974 memoir titled Spindrift: Spray from a Psychic Sea, describing the paranormal experiences she claimed to have while living in this house, which is pretty crazy. And Jennifer says maybe he was a lawyer that then they wore white wigs. Possibly. Possibly. You might be onto something. I would take your word for it. That sounds right. The next location is called One If by Land, Two If by Sea. And this is a famous West Village restaurant located in a former carriage house built in 1767 that once belonged to Aaron Burr, as mentioned earlier, that former vice president who killed Alexander Hamilton in said duel. So both Burr and his daughter Theodosia are said to haunt the building. Theodosia mysteriously disappeared at sea in 1813 while traveling aboard a schooner. I do apologize. Please correct me in the comments nicely if you know how to pronounce that. Called the Patriot. Staff and diners have reported strange activity, including invisible pushes, falling paintings, flickering lights, plates flying across the dining room, and even earrings being pulled from people's ears. Despite its haunted reputation, the restaurant is considered one of the most romantic dining spots in the world, according to Architectural Digest. The upstairs private dining area was also once reportedly used as actor Steve McQueen's apartment, which is pretty cool. Next story is about the New Amsterdam Theater. Right now, Aladdin is debuting at that theater. I did not see that play when I was there, obviously, but sounds pretty cool. If I had more time, I probably would have seen it. But it is the oldest theater on Broadway, and on an bleh, an official New York City landmark, words are hard, listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So it was built between 1902 and 1903 and is said to be haunted by Olive Thomas, a Ziegfeld Follies performer known in her time as the most beautiful girl in New York City. She died in Paris in 1920 at just 25 years old after swallowing mercury bichloride pills, reportedly belonging to her husband, Jack Pickford, who was using them to treat syphilis. Her ghost had allegedly been spotted both on stage and backstage at the theater. And with that story, I want to take a pause because specifically, this makes me think of, well, a few different instances, but more recently, my video on the Fairmont Chateau Laurier in Ottawa. So obviously not a New York location, but the reason I'm mentioning this is because it is said to be famously haunted by the creator of the hotel. Charles Melville Hayes, I believe, is the order of his name. And he died aboard the Titanic. So I made a video about it. I did a paranormal investigation there. And when I posted it, there was a lot of people commenting about, oh, like how is he supposedly haunting the hotel if he died on the Titanic? A lot of places, I'll make a whole podcast episode about this too if you guys want, but not every place that has had death occur is haunted. And same as ghosts don't always haunt the place that they died. So, I mean, if you die specifically in like a tragic way, why would you want to be sticking around at the bottom of the ocean when you could be in a place of significance or importance in your life, right? I know that if I'm a spirit, I'm going to go to places that I like, Same with cemeteries being haunted. People say all the time on my videos when I make haunted cemetery videos, aren't all cemeteries haunted? No, not all cemeteries are haunted. in my opinion, it takes either a tragedy happening on that cemetery ground or, um, what's the word? Conjuring. Conjuring's a big one at cemeteries because people go there on Halloween, things like that, do Ouija boards, don't know what they're doing, do seances, and they bring forth things that weren't originally there. And also potential movement of graves, or if it was like a previous burial ground, and then there was like a big mass grave that could create a haunting at a cemetery. But just because deceased bodies are buried at cemeteries does not mean that they're haunted. So, fun fact, I'll do a whole video on that. So, um, with that relating back to what we just talked about, obviously, she died in Paris, but she came back to the theater because she was the most beautiful girl in New York City, right? So, that's obviously a place that she wanted to spend her spirit world life, death, afterlife. That's the word. So, her ghost, again, has been spotted everywhere in the theater, basically. Next up is the, forgive me, Kreischer House. Kreischer House. It is an eerie Queen Anne style Victorian mansion on Staten Island, built around 1885 by German immigrant and brick manufacturer Balthasar Kreischer. One of Kreischer's twin sons later died by suicide inside the house. Decades later, the mansion was the scene of another disturbing crime. In 2005, caretaker Joseph Joe Black Young, who had ties to the mob, murdered another mob associate there and burned the body in the basement furnace. Visitors over the years have reported strange voices, unexplained lights, and apparitions, including the ghost of Kreischer's son and a former cook. The mansion has also appeared in HBO's English is hard. Boardwalk Empire. That's the word. The paranormal show Paranormal Lockdown, and an episode of Super Into featuring actor Aaron Paul. Next story is the Manhattan Well. So, the infamous Manhattan murder well became the center of a major trial in 1799 after carpenter Levi Weeks was accused of murdering his girlfriend, Guilelma, otherwise known as Elma, Elmore Sands. She had been strangled and her body was discovered in a well in an area then known as Lespendard Meadow. Weeks, whose brother was the powerful builder Ezra Weeks, was eventually acquitted in a controversial verdict despite widespread suspicion. Today, the remains of the well are actually located inside the COS clothing store in Soho on Spring Street. According to legend, Alma's ghost can sometimes be heard screaming from deep inside the well, and some claim her spirit still wanders the nearby streets. The Travel Channel has even listed the Manhattan Well as one of the 10 most haunted places in America. And honestly, that is a terrible tragedy. And I can understand why it would be one of the most haunted places in America. That is tragedy at its rawest form, I guess is the best way to say that. And just with one of the most main, or one of the Can you guys tell I haven't live streamed in a week? With one of the main things of the haunting being her screaming from inside this well. Obviously, she's in severe distress. So it gives me almost like poltergeist type activity. So I wonder if there's more within that haunting, if there's things that get moved inside this clothing store. Honestly, I probably should have gone inside this clothing store. I did not go inside this clothing store when I was down in New York, and I definitely should have, and ask some questions at the cashier because that would be interesting to do a deep dive into. The next location is St. Mark's Church in the Bowery. So St. Mark's Church in the Bowery dates back to 1660 and is the second oldest church in Manhattan. It is also said to be haunted by Peter Pegleg Stuyvesant, the last Dutch colonial, God, colonial, I think is the word, Governor General of New Amsterdam, which was the original name for New York. Visitors to the historic East Village Church have reported seeing his ghost wandering the church grounds, ringing the bells, and loudly singing hymns in Dutch, and generally causing mischief as well. The church offers self-guided walking tours, meaning visitors might just have the chance to encounter even document old Pegleg Pete themselves. Next up is the Merchant's House Museum. This is the video that I posted on my TikTok yesterday, the one that's been picked up a little bit more on Facebook right now. So I did go inside the Merchant's House Museum. I will tell you guys a little bit about it first, and then I'll explain my feelings. So the Merchant's House Museum is a National Historic Landmark located inside an 1832 Federal style brick townhouse in the East Village. It's often called the most haunted house in Manhattan, and the home is believed to be haunted by Gertrude Treadwell, who was a reclusive woman born in the house in 1840 and lived there almost her entire life. She rarely left the property before dying there in 1933 at the age of 93. Visitors have reported seeing Gertrude's ghost wandering the house in a worn brown dress, along with unexplained sounds, strange smells, and mysterious lights throughout the building. Hello, Hauntorium. Damn, it's snowing again. Tired of it now. Is it snowing? I can't tell. Honestly, I'm tired of the snow too. It was so nice. Side note, before I talk about my experience in the Merchant's House Museum, side note, I'm gonna move my legs because my feet are asleep. I'm sitting cross-legged on this couch. It was obviously so nice around here in the Toronto area. I was running outside again. I'm training for a marathon right now that I have to run in May. And I was finally like running outside because it was so nice. And then I went to New York. It was beautiful in New York as well. And the day that I came back, we had this big snowstorm here in the Toronto area. And I'm like, what is this? And then it melted last night, I guess, because I woke up and all the snow was gone. Tomorrow morning going to be cold. Ugh, gross. I hate it. I hate it. I just want it to be spring and then summer, but not like hot, hot summer. Anyways, Merchant's House Museum. So I went to the Merchant's House Museum and I filmed inside, as you guys will see in my TikTok and Instagram on it. I went in there and there was a tour going on, but I kind of just wanted to do a self-guided tour. So I was allowed to go through and just kind of mosey around and, I got my footage and all that. And I didn't really feel too much in I don't even remember what it's called. I want to say it was the parlor. It was technically I entered through the back of the house. So it was the room that was immediately on the left if you entered from the front of the house. So I think that was the parlor. That room felt kind of strange, but I felt the worst in that space in the servants' quarters. And I don't know, maybe it's because it was so high up. It was like the fourth floor because everything in New York is like up. But I don't know. It felt heavy in the servants' quarters, and I couldn't explain it. There was, especially because with the stories of Merchant's House Museum, there isn't a whole lot of, I don't know, at least what I could find, there isn't stories about the servants' quarters specifically being haunted or like any mistreatment of the servants or anything like that. Again, the main spirit is said to be Gertrude, but then there's also 8 people that also died in that house. So how they died, or maybe someone was sick, maybe that was the heaviness I was feeling, but something about the servants' quarters really set me off in that house. I will say that. All melted here, green grass and Guelph. That is perfect. I hope it stays like that, Jennifer. Yes, that was the Merchant's House Museum. The next is the Hotel Chelsea. So the legendary Chelsea Hotel has long been associated with artists, musicians, and writers. It was immortalized in Leonard Cohen's 1974 song Chelsea Hotel Number 2. Over the years, the hotel has hosted an incredible list of famous residents and guests, including Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Andy Warhol, Madonna, Bob Dylan, Patti Smith, William S. Burroughs, Tennessee Williams, Stanley Kubrick, Arthur Miller, and many others. And Welsh poet Dylan Thomas even died there in room 106 as well. The hotel is also rumored to be haunted, of course. Spirits reportedly seen there include Dylan Thomas himself, along with a Titanic survivor named Mary, who is said to haunt the fifth floor. Another tragic event occurred in 1978 when Nancy Spungen, girlfriend of Sex Pistols bassist Sid Vicious, was stabbed to death in room 100. Vicious was charged with the murder but died of a heroin overdose before the trial. The Chelsea Hotel was also featured in the TV series Celebrity Ghost Stories, including one episode featuring actor Michael Imperoli. Crazy. Absolutely amazing amazing might be not the right word, but just so much energy at that hotel. It's no wonder that place is haunted, uh, with all the history and everything that has happened there. It's no shock. Next, we're going to be talking about a cemetery, the Machpelah. Again, I do apologize. It is a cemetery in Queens, and it is a Jewish cemetery founded in 1860. It is known as the final resting place of legendary escape artist Harry Houdini, whose real name was Eric Weiss. Houdini died on Halloween night in 1926 in Detroit at the age of 52, and after his death, his wife, Bess Houdini, held a seance at his grave every Halloween until she died in 1943, hoping to contact him from beyond the grave, but she never succeeded. Even today, Houdini's grave attracts large crowds every Halloween as people gather hoping to experience something supernatural. The next location we will be talking about is the White Horse Tavern. This is haunted by the ghost of Welsh poet, what am I saying? The ghost of Welsh poet Dylan Thomas isn't only said to haunt the Chelsea Hotel, the Chelsea Hotel. He's also rumored to linger at the White Horse Tavern in Greenwich Village as well. I promise for my next stream, I will have my sentences flowing better. I don't know what's going on right now. Thomas reportedly drank 18 straight whiskeys at that bar on the night of his death in 1953 at the age of 39. Since then, some people claim his spirit can be seen sitting at his favorite table, and staff have even reported drinks mysteriously disappearing from the bar. Established in 1880, the White Horse Tavern became a famous gathering spot for writers and was later recognized as a national poetry landmark by the Academy of American Poets, which is a nice little ode to Dylan Thomas. I'm just going to catch up on the comments here. Toronto is getting covered now. Oh. Is that Sid Vicious? Sid Vicious, the bassist for the Sex Pistols, the band, was from the last story, right? No, 2 stories. Oh, this was from the Hotel Chelsea. So apparently the bassist, Sid Vicious from Sex Pistols, he was the one who stabbed, supposedly. I guess they never went to trial, but seems very, very likely that he would have been convicted if he had not had the overdose. He stabbed his girlfriend in that hotel. Girlfriend or wife? Girlfriend. Anyways. And yes. Okay, perfect. The next location is the Washington Square Park. I have a video on this coming soon because I did walk through the Washington Square Park to get from the Merchant's House Museum to the House of Death. There's honestly, in that area of the Greenwich Village of Manhattan, there's like a few good little gems that you can walk to and check out if you're ever in that area. It's quite cool. And Washington Square Park is a very famous park in New York. Obviously not Central Park, but it has that big monument and everything like that I'm sure you've seen online or on shows. I'm pretty sure Amazing Race used to go through there at one point for their finales. I don't know if they still do, but it's an iconic park. And it is now a lively gathering place surrounded by New York University, but its history is far darker. So during the American Revolution, the area served as a public execution site, and the park is still home to the 350-year-old Hangman's Elm, believed to be the oldest tree in Manhattan. The land was later used as a public burial ground, and historians estimate that as many as 20,000 bodies may still be buried beneath the park today. Because of this history, visitors have reported paranormal activity, including ghostly figures wandering the park late at night, sometimes mistaken for late night college students. Um, yes, super creepy. That story reminds me of the Skeleton Park in Kingston, as well as um, the name is escaping me. There's a park in Montreal as well. I was hoping the name would come to me. It's not. It's very close to the Queen Elizabeth Fairmont as well. So Montreal, very haunted place. Yeah, a lot of bodies. I'm wondering, hold on, let me double check right now. Skeleton Park. Kingston bodies. Just to put into perspective. How many bodies are in Skeleton Park? It just says thousands. I want to say it's like 7,000 or something like that. I've done a video on this, but it's been so long. Please hold, guys. Let me figure this out. Okay, so it had an estimated 10,000 burials at the Skeleton Park in Kingston. I don't think all 10,000 are still there. Out of an estimated 10,000, 4,000 Catholics, 4,000 Anglicans, and 2,000 Presbyterians, less than 1,000 bodies were removed from McBurney Park. Less than 1,000. So it's between 9 to 10,000 bodies are at Skeleton Park. So at Washington Square Park, we have double, which is crazy. Yeah. Next, let's talk about an iconic landmark in New York City, which you probably did not assume would be haunted, but it is the Empire State Building, of course. So, one of the most famous buildings in the world, Empire State Building, rises 1,454 feet above Midtown Manhattan. The observation deck on the 86th floor is said to be haunted by the spirit of Evelyn McHale. In 1947, the 23-year-old died by suicide after jumping from the observation deck and landing on a limousine parked below. A photograph taken shortly afterwards showed her body lying almost peacefully on the crushed car. And the image later became known as the most beautiful suicide after appearing in Life magazine, which is the most disturbing thing I've ever heard. Well, I've heard a lot of disturbing. It's up there. It's at least top 10. Pop artist Andy Warhol later used the photograph as inspiration for one of his works titled Suicide Fallen Body. It's art, at least that's inspiration, so I'll take that a little bit more than I'll take accept the fact that that became known as the most beautiful suicide. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy to me. I did not check out the Empire State Building this most recent time I went to New York, but I have been there and I have been on the observation deck, and it is tall. It is up there. Snowing in Guelph now. I can't tell. I can't tell if it's snowing here. It's too dark outside. I can't tell. But I'm not in Guelph, but I'm very close to Guelph. So I'm sure it will be snowing here soon then by the sounds of it. Yeah, no, absolutely frightening. Not snowing in Hamilton at the moment. Interesting. I'm wondering if it'll pass me then. We'll see. I'm hoping for no snow. I was there before it got hit. In Hamilton or Guelph. Guelph, probably. Anyways, moving on to the next story. This is about the McCarran Park Pool in Brooklyn. It opened in 1936 and has been the site of many strange reports over the years. According to local legend, the ghost of a young girl who drowned in the pool can sometimes be seen wandering the area late at night, crying out for help. Interestingly, there are no public records confirming the drowning, but the story continues to circulate, giving the pool a haunted reputation. The location also appeared in the 1983 low budget film Vigilante, also known as Street Gang, during a chase scene. Fun fact. Next up is the Belasco Theater, which is located on West 44th Street in Manhattan. It's often considered one of the most haunted theaters on Broadway. It opened in 1907 by famed producer and playwright David Belasco, who was so dedicated to his work that he even built a luxurious duplex apartment above the theater where he lived while running productions. After Belasco died in 1931, actors and staff began reporting strange occurrences inside the building. Many claim his spirit still lingers in the theater that he loved so much. Witnesses have described seeing a shadowy figure dressed in Belasco's signature clerical style clothing sitting in one of the theater's private box seats during rehearsals or performances. Some actors have even said they've shaken hands with the figure, believing it was Belasco's ghost. Others explained activity that has also been reported over the years. Staff working late at night have heard footsteps and music coming from Belasco's former apartment upstairs, even though the rooms have long been empty. People have also claimed to hear the theater's old private elevator moving on its own, despite it no longer being in use. But Belasco might not be the only spirit haunting the building. Another ghost known as the Lady in Blue is said to appear in the theater as well. And according to legend, she may have been a showgirl who died after falling down an elevator shaft under mysterious circumstances. Crazy. The performers and staff have reported seeing a blonde woman wearing a blue dress sitting in the balcony or watching rehearsals from locked seating areas. Actress Laura Linney even claimed to have spotted the mysterious woman during one of her performances as well. Today, the Belasco Theater still operates as a Broadway venue, but many performers believe the spirits never left. In fact, some theater legends say that if David Belasco's ghost appears on opening night, it's actually a good sign, meaning the show will be a success. I'd hate to be a part of a cast or crew that doesn't see it and is like, "Oh no, we're doomed." But I think that's a really cool little story. I did not go inside the Belasco Theater, but I walked by it. I could not imagine falling like that either, Jennifer. That is it. I can't even imagine it. That's absolutely wild. Um, but yeah, I walked by the Belasco Theater. I might, depending on how much footage I actually got, because I just was on the outside of it. I think there's a. I'm trying to remember what the production's called. Let me actually look at my photos because it has it on the outside. Belasco Theater, where are you? Um, Um, not that. Hold, please hold. Do do do. What were you? Maybe Happy Ending. That is what's playing at the Blasco Theater right now. If anyone is interested. Um, okay, moving on. The next story is another theater. It is the Lunt-Fontanne Theater. This is located in Manhattan's theater district as well. It's sometimes listed among Broadway's most haunted theaters too. Over the years, performers and staff have reported strange experiences inside the building, especially in the auditorium and the basement where stage sets, are stored. One of the most common stories involves two mysterious figures who are said to appear in the audience during rehearsals. Witnesses describe seeing the spirits of a large man and a woman sitting quietly in the seats as if they're watching the performance unfold. When people look again, the figures often vanish. Activity has also been reported below the stage, where scene storage is located in the basement. Staff members have claimed to see shadowy apparitions wandering through the storage areas among set pieces and props. But not all experiences involve actually seeing something. Many theater employees say the building sometimes has an unsettling atmosphere, describing a heavy or oppressive feeling while working alone inside the theater, particularly on stage. Some have even reported the sudden sensation of being watched. And there are also stories of unexplained footsteps echoing across the stage late at night while staff are locking up in the building. In several cases, people say the footsteps seem to follow them, even though no one else was there. Of course, theaters have long had a reputation for being haunted. We did do a live stream a couple weeks ago on haunted theaters. For those of you who might have missed that, is on my live tab on my YouTube page. But for those of you who did watch that, you know. Many performers believe the age and history of these buildings naturally lead to the ghost stories that we hear about them. Still, those who have experienced the strange events at the Luntfontein say the activity there can feel especially intense. And I did go inside the Luntfontein Theater because I saw the Broadway musical Death Becomes Her, and that is what is performing there, premiering there. That's what's currently being shown at that theater. Great, great film. Great play. I talked about this at the beginning, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember. I think I did. But anyways, Death Becomes Her, great play. Would recommend. I was inside the Luntfontein. It was a sold out show. So I did not see any suspicious ghosts when I was in there. And if I did, everyone kind of blended together. So I'm not entirely sure, but I can definitely see how the theater would be haunted because it is stunning. And I have a video on that coming soon. So you will see it too. The next theater we're going to be talking about is the Al Hirschfeld Theater, which was originally called the Martin Beck Theater. And it is said to have one of Broadway's most gentle hauntings. Instead of a frightening spirit, the theater is rumored to be home to a friendly ghost believed to be a former staff member who once worked there and still seems to linger around the dressing rooms. According to theater lore, the woman was very fond of the actors and performers who worked in the building. Even after her death, some believe she continues to watch over the dressing rooms and the backstage areas, almost as if she's still part of the theater staff. One of the most well-known paranormal stories from the theater happened during the 1987 to 1989 Broadway run of Into the Woods, when actress Joanna Gleason, who starred in the production, reportedly experienced several strange incidents while getting ready backstage. She and other cast members began noticing that their makeup, which had been neatly arranged on a table, would be mysteriously moved to the opposite side of the room when no one else was there. And the strangest moment came when Gleason noticed something unusual written on the dusty mirror in her dressing in her dressing room. The letter M had appeared in the dust, even though the mirror had already been wiped clean earlier. The marking reportedly reappeared again later, which had only deepened that mystery. Despite the odd activity, the spirit associated with the Al Hirschfeld Theater is generally described as harmless and even protective. Many believe it's simply the presence of a former employee who loved the theater so much that she never really left. And there is more to that, which I will cover in my TikTok and Instagram video and YouTube short. So stay tuned for that video. But I also did go into this theater. Also a sold out show, or pretty much sold out. It was very busy in there, and it was a matinee. So I was shocked at how bumping it was in there. But I guess that's how Broadway always is. I saw Moulin Rouge in that theater. The ambiance, all the red, very dark, very creepy. But great film. Great film, great play. I don't know why I keep calling it a film. It is a film too, but great play. Would recommend. There's definitely a vibe in that theater for sure. The next theater we're going to be talking about is the Gershwin Theater. This opened in 1971, and it is one of Broadway's newer venues, but despite its relatively modern construction, it has developed a reputation as one of Broadway's most actively haunted theaters. Over the years, cast and crew have reported encounters with what they believe are three different spirits that seem to linger around the building. One of the most commonly mentioned ghosts is known among theater workers as Dennis, and sometimes called Drew. Another apparition is described as a man dressed in a 19th century blue suit, while a third spirit has been seen wearing something as simple as a white t-shirt. These figures are most often spotted backstage or briefly crossing the stage before disappearing. Several performers have reported strange physical encounters as well. Actor Nathan Peck, along with other cast members, has said that they were tapped on the shoulder by something unseen while waiting backstage to enter during the monkey flight sequence in Wicked. When they turned around, no one was there. Stage managers have also described seeing figures standing near stage left, only to watch them disappear moments later behind the curtains. And because the musical Wicked has been running at the Gershwin Theater since 2003, many members of its company have shared stories about the paranormal activity in the building too. Despite the theater being relatively new compared to others on Broadway, it's widely talked about within theater circles as having a surprisingly strong ghostly presence. And I did go into this theater as well because I did watch Wicked too. Um, this one was not a sold out show, but I didn't see anything unusual. So can't tell you if there's anything haunted there for sure from my experience, but based off of the experiences from people that have worked there every single day, and had weird encounters, I'd say that sounds pretty dang haunted. So that is the Gershwin Theater. And lastly, we are going to take a little bit of a trip about 30 miles north of New York City. So we're kind of leaving Manhattan now. But I did want to touch on this location. Well, I'm talking about this general area, and that is Sleepy Hollow or Tarrytown. So, again, like mentioned, it's about 30 miles north of New York City. And it is the village of Sleepy Hollow in Tarrytown, famous for inspiring Washington Irving's Gothic story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This tale introduced the terrifying figure of the Headless Horseman, one of the most famous ghosts in American folklore, of course. Because of its long history of ghost stories, Sleepy Hollow is often considered one of the most haunted places in the world. Every year, the area hosts a massive Halloween attraction called Horseman's Hollow, featuring more than 2 weeks of haunted events. And nearby, Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, is also the burial site of Washington Irving himself. The cemetery was even used as a filming location for the Ramones' 1989 music video, or for Pet Cemetery. And that is a location that is on my bucket list. That and like Salem, Massachusetts. I want to go to those places so bad. um, but I don't know if I'd want to go during Halloween season. It seems so crazy busy during those times. I feel like leading up to or just after might be my speed. Um, but yeah, specifically Salem, if you guys ever like look online during the Halloween season and see what's happening in Salem, you guys know it gets crazy in there. The staff of different places there, locals there will tell you it gets crazy busy. And I can only imagine. So let me just readjust myself as we close out today's stream. I'm going back to sitting cross-legged. um, yeah, that's all the stories I have for you guys today. I am wondering what kind of I've been debating this year. I'm gonna try to go to both, but we'll see. Would you guys rather me go to Salem, Massachusetts or Sleepy Hollow and do paranormal investigations there? If I could only go to one, which one would you guys prefer? Because I'm kind of torn there, but I feel like it's Salem, but Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow, I feel like is more under the radar. Yeah, Salem. I feel like Salem would be so cool. I've been I was considering going to Salem actually last week because I had the time off and before my mom and I booked our trip to New York City, I was considering going to Salem. And I was looking at different places to stay there, possibly Lizzie Borden, possibly I think it's called the Coach House. I was looking at a few different places. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'll go there for a couple days. I'll do a live stream there for you guys. And then obviously I went to New York City instead. But which movie? Oh, Sleepy Hollow. Duh. um, but yeah, so obviously I didn't go to Salem last week, but I do want to go so badly. It's been on my list for a long time. There's so many things in Salem I want to see, and I also want to show you guys. Not just with live streaming, but also because I really enjoyed going, live when I was at the Biltmore in Los Angeles. That was a lot of fun, so I definitely wanna do. The reason I didn't go live when I was in New York City is because when I was in did I mention that already at the beginning? I'm not sure. If I did, forgive me, but the reason I didn't go live last week when I was in New York City, was because we weren't staying in a haunted place, and then I think I did mention this, and then on Monday, I was invited to a premiere, so I was at the premiere when I would have been live. So, that's the reason the live streams didn't happen last week, but I digress. If I'm ever traveling again and I'm in a haunted place, of course, I will go live. But I'm debating, should the spooky location of the year, there's gonna be a ton, don't get me wrong, but, like, I'm thinking for, like, October, like, the prime time October content, do you guys want Salem or Sleepy Hollow? And that being said, I will be in those locations before October. It will just be premiering in October. Um, you guys let me know. I'll probably do a poll at some point on my again, my community tab, my post tab, so keep an eye on that. Again, that is a way to communicate with me, keep up to date with different updates and things, but I will hold polls at port words. I will hold polls there. I have already before, and so I will continue to do so. So if you guys want to vote on things, you'll be able to do so there. So I'll probably do that maybe in a few months. I'll kind of do a poll there so you guys can let me know. But yeah, with that, we are coming up to the end of the stream. I'm trying to think of what else I should share. Sleepy Hollow because it's not to me. People do videos. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, Sleepy Hollow is obviously very popular, but I feel like out of the 2, I feel like people all, like, often opt for Salem over Sleepy Hollow. Um, but they're both extremely busy during the Halloween season. I just feel like Sleepy Hollow might not be as much because I feel like you're right. I feel like I haven't seen very many people post about going to Sleepy Hollow, whereas I see tons of people post about going to Salem. Again, I wanna do both. We will do both, and I love both. Even though I've never been, I love the idea of both. I wanna check out both, but which one comes first? I don't know. We have Mary saying, Mike saying Sleepy Hollow. I will do a poll. Before I make my decision, I will do a poll. So keep your eyes peeled onto my post tabs because I will do an official poll. Um, is there more in Salem? Like what? Like Salem, from my understanding, Salem isn't too big. It's a very walkable part of town. It's a very small part of Massachusetts. But there's a bunch of like haunted places. There's a bunch of really like Ouija board museums. Uh, there's the Satanic Temple there. There's um, different like witchcraft stores during Halloween season. You get a lot of characters walking around the streets, kind of like New York City. Do what your heart wants, both. Mary, I love your thinking. Mary, you get me. You get me. I might just have to do both. Twist my rubber arm. I'll do both. But yeah, so because Salem has so much to offer in such a small space, like small area. So I feel like we could get a lot done. I can give you guys a lot of content there. And then Sleepy Hollow is just iconic. Like both are iconic, but Sleepy Hollow is just there's something about it, like OG Halloween almost. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna do both. I can't. Like out here, I'm being like, I'm gonna do a poll. I'm gonna do both. What am I saying? But I did want to thank you guys for being here with me tonight for my first stream back. I'm sorry I missed last week. It pained me, honestly. I missed you guys so much. I'm so happy to be back. But yeah, if I have to, go traveling somewhere and I can't bring you guys for whatever reason, which I feel like will be a slim to none occasion. It was only because I wasn't staying at a haunted place. There was almost no point. Also on the Thursday night at 7 p.m., that's when I was in a Broadway show. I was not in a Broadway, but I was watching a Broadway show at that time. So timing just didn't work out that great last week. Whereas like when I went to LA, I was able to move around my schedule and I went live in a haunted place. So hopefully in the future it's more of a reschedule and not a whole cancellation of a week because that sucked for me. But I do appreciate you guys' patience with me, and yay, I promise I will not be gone this long ever again, Mary. That sounds more interesting than Salem than Sleepy Hollow later. Salem then Sleepy Hollow later? Yeah. I feel like that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna do both this year and then hit up Salem first and then Sleepy Hollow, and I feel like where they're located, I feel like I can make a cool little road trip out of it and then post them both throughout. Oh my god, October is gonna be crazy. I'm excited. Thank you guys so much. I seriously appreciate you guys. You guys know this. I love you all. And yeah, I will be back for another stream on Thursday at 7, and the podcast will be out this week. You might get one paranormal if you get a paranormal investigation video this week as well as the podcast, it will be not Melton Town Hall. Melton Town Hall will come likely next week. If not, because Erica is currently, I think she's in Paris right now. She's somewhere far. And we have to get together to do our thumbnails. So for the actual cover of the investigation videos, that's kind of the last piece of that investigation video that we're waiting for. So if it's not out next week, then it will be out at the beginning of the last week of March. So it will still be in March. The Milton Town Hall will come out in March for sure. And then there might be another paranormal investigation before that, depending on when Milton Town Hall is able to come out. So you'll get 2 paranormal investigation videos this month for sure. Well, definitely Milton Town Hall, possibly a second one. And obviously the podcast starts this week. So much content. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Jennifer. Love and light to you, to Mary, to Mike, to Hauntorium, to is that everyone in the chat? I think that's everyone in the chat. And then anyone else who's watching, love and light to you all, whether it's live or in the recap. I will see you all again on Thursday at 7 p.m. And I hope you guys like the podcast that drops this week. I am so excited. I've been itching to get it out there. And I've been working on it for a long time, the concept and everything. So I am super excited to have that finally be released. And I hope you guys love it. And I hope you guys give it a big thumbs up for me when it does drop this week. And I think that's everything. I think that's all of my yes. Hit the like for this stream too. Stay spooky. Yes, stay spooky, Mary. And have a good night, everyone. Stay spooky, everybody. Have a good night. Stay cozy, stay warm. Hopefully it's not snowing where you are. I hope it's not snowing where I am. And I will see you all soon. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.